In the autumn of a man's life, after decades of work and experience, a powerful myth often takes root: the myth of Stoic solitude. Society, and perhaps even your own pride, will tell you that a man at 60, having achieved a certain level of freedom, is better off alone. That companionship is a complication to be avoided, not a cornerstone to be sought. From the perspective of timeless wisdom, that is a profound error. The Stoics taught that we are social creatures by nature. To deny our innate need for connection is to live contrary to that nature, and therefore to live without true fulfillment. The sobering truth is that no matter how independent you feel, the fundamental human need for companionship, for shared experience, and for deep emotional intimacy does not fade with age. In fact, it often grows more profound. Relationships at this stage are no longer solely about passion or pursuit. They are about legacy, about mutual support, about finding a partner with whom to share the wisdom you have spent a lifetime acquiring. The critical failure for many men over 60 is approaching this new chapter with an old map. They engage with women using the same dynamics and expectations they had at 30, and they wonder why the territory seems so unfamiliar and why the journey so often ends in failure. In this guide, we will set aside the gentle advice and the societal myths. We will explore the raw truth of what it means to build a meaningful connection in your later years. This is not about whether it is too late. It is about whether you are willing to apply the wisdom of your years to what could be the most rewarding chapter of your life. Principle 1. The myth of independence. In the autumn of a man's life, after a lifetime of striving, building, and providing, he often reaches a summit. From this peak, he looks out at the world and feels a profound sense of independence. He has his career, his resources, his freedom. He is, by all societal standards, a success. And it is from this very summit that he can fall into the most dangerous trap of all, the myth of Stoic solitude. Society reinforces this myth. It tells the man over 60, "You've earned your rest. You don't need anyone now. You're better off without the drama of women." Pride reinforces it, whispering that to need another person is a sign of weakness, a step backward from the self-sufficiency he has worked so hard to achieve. But this is a profound misunderstanding, both of human nature and of true Stoic wisdom. The ancient Stoics taught that we are social creatures by nature. Marcus Aurelius wrote that to cut ourselves off from our fellow human is to sever a limb from our own body. Independence is a virtue, but isolation is a violation of our own nature. Independence is not a replacement for intimacy. No matter how secure, how successful, or how independent a man becomes, there is an intrinsic, unshakable human need for connection. The emotional, social, and psychological bonds we form with a trusted partner cannot be replicated by money, by hobbies, or even by a wide circle of casual friends. For many men over 60, this truth creeps in slowly. Loneliness is a quiet guest. At first, it is disguised by the business of retirement, of travel, of projects. But it is always there. In the quiet evenings, in the solitary meals, in the moments of triumph that feel hollow, because there is no one to share them with. The problem is compounded by a lifetime of conditioning. Men are taught to be providers, protectors, rocks. And the ego convinces them that to admit a need for emotional connection is to confess that the rock is beginning to crumble. But the wise man understands that true strength is not the inability to feel need. It is the courage to acknowledge it, and the wisdom to seek its fulfillment in a virtuous way. Connection and intimacy are not liabilities, they are strengths. Emotional vulnerability, when shared with a worthy partner, becomes a source of profound growth, shared happiness, and a deeper understanding of oneself. The myth that independence equals happiness is a dangerous one. In reality, independence without companionship can feel like a beautifully furnished house with no one inside. The quiet that was once peaceful now highlights a deafening absence. Conversations lose their depth. Life's daily joys, the shared laughter, the comforting touch, the simple understanding in a partner's gaze, begin to fade from memory. Breaking this myth requires a sober and honest assessment of reality. It requires acknowledging that no amount of freedom can fully satisfy the fundamental human need for a deep, meaningful connection. It is not weakness to desire companionship in the autumn of your life. It is the ultimate expression of your humanity. Principle 2: Companionship versus loneliness. By the time a man reaches his 60s, he has proven his ability to handle life on his own. But the hard truth that many confront in this chapter is that handling life and thriving in life are two very different things. No amount of independence, money, or hobbies can fully replace the life-giving force of companionship. Humans are wired for connection, and this need does not diminish with age. In many ways, it becomes more acute. Loneliness is not merely the state of being alone. It is the painful absence of someone who understands, values, and shares the narrative of your life. At this age, the architecture of a man's social world often begins to change. Friends may move away or pass on. Health challenges can limit social activities. Children are grown and occupied with their own families. In this new landscape, the absence of a partner can create an emptiness that echoes through the daily routines of life. A man begins to notice the small things. Who will he share a quiet evening with? Who will celebrate the small victories that no one else would understand? Who will provide that steady, unwavering support when life, as it inevitably does, gets tough? The absence of a female partner is not just an emotional deficit. It has been shown to affect mental and even physical health. Study after study consistently shows that men with supportive partners live longer, healthier, and happier lives. The connection is a buffer against the stresses of aging and a catalyst for continued engagement with the world. Imagine a 62-year-old man. He is a success. He has his golf game, his books, his travel plans. But most of his evenings are spent in a quiet house. He eats his meals alone. He watches television alone. He starts to feel the difference. The minor setbacks of the day feel heavier without someone to talk them over with. The joys feel less vibrant without someone to share them with. Then, he begins a relationship with a woman his age. Suddenly, the quiet house is filled with laughter. Simple routines, like morning coffee, become shared rituals. The weight of life's challenges is halved, and the joys are doubled. His life feels fuller. Not because he needed her to survive, he is a survivor, but because, as humans, we are designed to thrive on connection. This is the subtle but powerful distinction that a wise man must grasp. Companionship does not replace independence, it enhances it. It gives that independence a purpose, a context, and a meaning beyond the self. Loneliness is not a personal failing. It is a biological signal like hunger or thirst. It is a signal that connection is necessary for your well-being. To ignore it out of pride is to choose a path of regret, dissatisfaction, and emotional emptiness. The lesson is clear. Independence is a valuable asset, but it is an incomplete life. Men who embrace this truth, who consciously seek companionship with gratitude and respect, are the ones who find that their golden years are truly golden. Principle 3. Physical and emotional desire doesn't disappear. One of the most pervasive and damaging misconceptions about men over 60 is that their desire, both physical and emotional, simply fades away. Society often portrays older men as neutered, past their prime, for whom intimacy is an optional, nostalgic memory. The truth is, desire does not vanish. It evolves, and it remains an essential, vital part of a fulfilling human life. At this age, men often feel a new kind of tension between their physical capabilities and their emotional longings. While the raw, urgent drive of a 20-year-old may have tempered, the need for closeness, for touch, and for deep emotional connection often becomes more pronounced than ever. A hug from a loving partner, a shared laugh that brings tears to your eyes, the profound comfort of a familiar voice in the dark, these experiences can hold far more weight and meaning than they did at 30. Emotional intimacy moves from the periphery to the very center of what constitutes a rich relationship. The longing for a connection that is built on a lifetime of experience. Understanding and acceptance grows stronger, not weaker. Many men in this stage of life feel conflicted. They have built lives of independence and security. Yet, they notice a persistent gap, a void that their hobbies, their social clubs, or even their closest male friends cannot fill. This desire is not just about the physical act of sex, though that remains a part of it. It is about validation. It is about companionship. It is about the fundamental human need to be seen, to be appreciated, and to be loved for who you have become. The most common mistake men make is to deny this part of themselves. Pride, ego, or the fear of judgment pushes them to adopt the societal mask of the indifferent elder. They convince themselves that to need a woman is to be weak. But ignoring these deep-seated human needs does not make them disappear. It only forces them underground, where they fester into isolation, regret, and a quiet sense of incompleteness. The key takeaway is simple. Acknowledging your physical and emotional desire after 60 is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom. It is the honest recognition of your own human nature. This is a deep topic, and the nature of companionship changes with age. For the men over 60 in our community, I'm genuinely interested to hear your wisdom. In the comments, share one way in which a partnership has enriched your life in a way that independence alone could not. Your perspective is a valuable lesson for all of us. Men who understand and embrace the reality of their own desires are able to approach relationships with a newfound clarity, authenticity, and purpose. They know that a woman at this stage brings far more than just physical attraction. She brings emotional depth, shared history, and a sense of a life being fully and completely lived together. Principle 4. What women bring that men can't replace at 60 and beyond. A man may look at his life and believe he has everything he needs. He may have his hobbies, his friends, his travel, even his pets. He may believe he can fill all the needs of his life on his own. But the reality is stark. Nothing can fully replace the unique presence of a woman who understands, supports, and connects with you on multiple levels. Women at this stage bring emotional, social, and psychological elements to a man's life that are simply impossible for him to replicate alone. First, and perhaps most importantly, women offer a unique form of emotional support. Life at 60 can be challenging. Health concerns, career transitions, and the loss of friends and loved ones become more frequent. While male friends can offer camaraderie, a female partner often provides a different kind of support, a space for empathy, for vulnerability, and for comfort that can transform these challenges from solitary burdens into shared experiences. Second, women bring companionship in the small routines of daily life. A man can golf with his friends or travel the world alone, but these are events. Life is what happens in between. The simple, daily interactions, the morning coffee together, the evening walk, the shared laughter over a meal, these are the things that create a sense of meaning and rhythm that cannot be replaced by solitary activities. These routines foster a deep and abiding connection, giving life a stability and an emotional richness that grounds the soul. Third, a woman provides invaluable validation and perspective. At this stage, men often reflect on their life's achievements and regrets. A trusted partner's insight, her appreciation for your journey, and her honest perspective can help balance ego, humility, and confidence in ways that friends or family often cannot. She acts as a mirror, reflecting not just the successful man the world sees, but the complete man she knows. Finally, women contribute to a sense of legacy and emotional continuity. A life is not just a collection of achievements, it is a collection of memories. Sharing those memories, building new ones, and feeling a sense of mutual support creates a life that feels complete. A man may have built a financial legacy, but a shared emotional legacy with a partner is what truly makes a life feel fully lived. The lesson is clear. Independence is valuable, but the companionship from a woman at this stage brings a depth, a joy, and a fulfillment that nothing else can. Men who recognize this are not seeking a woman out of weakness. They are seeking a partner out of wisdom, knowing that the final chapters of their lives can be the most meaningful of all. Principle 5. How to approach women below 60. Many men over 60 assume that approaching a younger woman is either an impossible fantasy or a simple transaction. Both assumptions are wrong, and both are rooted in a misunderstanding of attraction. The truth is, women below 60 often have a different energy, different expectations, and different life priorities. Approaching them requires not a change in who you are, but a wiser application of the strengths you already possess. First, and most importantly, Confidence matters more than age or wealth. A younger woman is not attracted to a man who is trying to prove something with his money or his status. That is the language of insecurity. She is attracted to a man who carries himself with a calm, grounded assurance. This is not the arrogance of a man who thinks he is a gift to the world. It is the quiet confidence of a man who is comfortable in his own skin, who understands his own value through a lifetime of experience, and who feels no need to broadcast it. Second, you must respect her independence. A woman in her 40s or 50s is often in her prime. She may be at the peak of her career, socially active, and exploring her own life with vigor. The fatal mistake is to treat her as someone to be rescued, guided, or controlled. Approach her as an absolute equal. This respect builds trust, while any hint of neediness or a desire to control will destroy attraction instantly. Third, avoid ego-driven approaches. Many older men overcompensate. They lead with stories of their success, their wealth, their past glories, hoping to impress her. Instead, focus on genuine connection. Ask engaging questions. Show authentic curiosity about her life, her ambitions, her perspective. Emotional engagement and a shared sense of humor matter far more than any material display. Let her discover your accomplishments naturally through conversation, not as an opening sales pitch. Fourth, be authentic and patient. Do not try to mimic the energy or the slang of a younger generation. It comes off as forced and inauthentic. Be yourself. Embrace your age and your experience. Use the wisdom you've gained to guide the interaction with a natural, unhurried pace. A younger woman will respect your honesty and clarity far more than any pretense. Finally, you must understand boundaries and energy. Her life may be more fast-paced. She may have social or family commitments that differ from yours. Navigating the age gap respectfully means acknowledging these differences without frustration or jealousy. Your role is not to compete with her lifestyle, but to be a calm, stable, and compelling presence within it. The takeaway is clear. Approaching a younger woman is not about manipulation or ego. It is about confidence, respect, authenticity, and genuine connection. Men over 60 who master this balance are not just more attractive. They create relationships that are meaningful, mutually fulfilling, and built on a foundation of genuine understanding. So, let us say this with clarity. No matter how independent or successful you have become, a life without the depth of female companionship at this stage is often a life that is lonelier, emptier, and far less fulfilling than your pride will allow you to admit. Independence is a powerful achievement, but it cannot replace the fundamental human need for emotional connection, for shared experience, or for intimacy. The man who denies this is often living in a fantasy, fooling himself with the distractions of hobbies or wealth, while his soul quietly starves. The real truth is simple. A worthy partner brings an emotional depth, a level of support, and a sense of shared legacy that cannot be replicated by anything else. And the man who embraces this reality, not out of desperation, but with the clarity, confidence, and wisdom of his years, is the man who will experience the final chapters of his life more fully than he ever imagined. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you, or a man you know, struggled with this myth of solitude after 60? Are you navigating the complexities of relationships at this stage of life and have wisdom to share? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, and I want this to be a space where men can connect, learn, and grow together. If this guide has provided you with clarity, then like this video. Share it with a man who needs to hear this message. And, of course, subscribe to the Stoic Manhood Guide, because the pursuit of a virtuous and fulfilling life never ends. In the next video, we will reveal the specific mistakes most men over 60 make that secretly ruin their chances with younger women, even when they think they're doing everything right. You won't want to miss it. Until then, live with virtue.